You want to know what really happened backstage after Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker absolutely demolished Roman Reigns? The footage they don't want you to see? The conversations Paul Levesque had behind closed doors that would make your blood boil? Because what I'm about to expose will change everything you thought you knew about WWE's power structure right now. And before the algorithm buries this video like WWE tried to bury this story, smash the like button and subscribe because this channel is the only place getting you the real truth that corporate WWE is desperately trying to hide from the WWE universe. Triple H didn't just explode backstage. He went nuclear. And the reason why will shock you to your core, because it has nothing to do with protecting Roman Reigns and everything to do with protecting his own legacy and the empire he's built since taking over from Vince McMahon. What Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker did wasn't just an attack. It was a declaration of war against everything Triple H has carefully constructed, and the fallout is about to tear WWE apart from the inside. Let me paint you the picture of what went down, because the way WWE presented it on television was sanitized compared to the absolute carnage that actually occurred. Bronson Reed, the 300-pound wrecking ball from Australia, and Bron Breakker, the genetic freak who's been tearing through everything in his path, didn't just lay out Roman Reigns. They systematically destroyed the tribal chief in a way we haven't seen since Brock Lesnar's most vicious days. We're talking multiple tsunamis from Bronson Reed. We're talking Bron Breakker delivering spear after spear after spear with such intensity that even the hardened veterans backstage were legitimately concerned. This wasn't a wrestling angle. This felt like an execution. Roman Reigns, the man who held the Universal Championship for over 1,200 days, the man who main event WrestleMania after WrestleMania, was left laying in a pool of his own humiliation. And you want to know the most insane part? Triple H reportedly watched it happen on the monitor backstage and his face went from shock to pure, unbridled rage. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is where you need to drop a comment right now telling me if you agree or disagree with what I'm about to say. Hit that subscribe button because this analysis is going deep into territory that other wrestling channels are too scared to touch. Sources close to the situation, and I'm talking about people who were literally in the room when Triple H lost his mind, have told me that Paul Levesque's explosion had nothing to do with concern for Roman Reigns' well-being. Let that sink in for a second. The man who runs WWE wasn't angry because his top star got brutalized. He was angry because Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker just exposed the fundamental flaw in his booking philosophy. Think about it. Since Triple H took over creative control, he's been building this new era of WWE based on one core principle: long-term storytelling with protected top stars who carry the company's narrative forward. Roman Reigns is the centerpiece of that philosophy. The Tribal Chief storyline, the Bloodline saga, everything that's made WWE must-see television for the past 3 years has been built on the foundation that Roman Reigns is untouchable. He's not just a wrestler, he's an institution. And in one night, Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker shattered that illusion into a million pieces. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't follow the carefully scripted plan. They went into business for themselves, and in doing so, they proved that Triple H's protected booking strategy has made his top stars soft. They proved that when real aggression and real intensity collides with sports entertainment storytelling, the facade crumbles. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Because if you are, you need to share this video right now. Send it to every wrestling fan you know because what I'm revealing here is the truth that WWE's corporate machine doesn't want getting out. Now let's get to the moment that has everyone talking. Multiple sources have confirmed that immediately after the segment ended, Triple H stormed into the gorilla position, the area right behind the curtain where Vince McMahon used to sit and where Paul Levesque now commands his empire. And according to everyone who witnessed it, Triple H unleashed on everyone within earshot. We're talking about a man who's usually calm, calculated, and professional, losing his absolute mind. He was reportedly screaming about how this wasn't the plan, how Reed and Breakker had gone too far, how the attack was too brutal, too realistic, too dangerous for the carefully crafted image WWE is trying to project in this new era. Witnesses say he was red-faced, veins bulging, slamming his fists on equipment, demanding answers for how this was allowed to happen. But here's the million-dollar question that nobody in WWE wants to address, and I want you to comment your answer right now. Was Triple H really angry about the attack itself, or was he angry that 2 stars he hasn't fully invested in just made his golden boy look absolutely helpless on international television? Because let's be brutally honest here, and this is where I need you to really engage with this content. Drop a like if you agree with this next statement. Triple H has been accused by many of playing favorites, of pushing his NXT guys, of building WWE around stars he discovered and developed while sometimes overlooking talent that came up through other systems. Bronson Reed? He was a main roster call-up who got lost in the shuffle. Bron Breakker? Yes, he's Triple H's guy from NXT, but he's been booked inconsistently on the main roster. And Roman Reigns? He's the established star from the Vince McMahon era that Triple H inherited, not created. So when Reed and Breakker demolished Roman, they weren't just attacking a wrestler. They were attacking Triple H's narrative control. They were proving that chaos and unpredictability create more compelling television than carefully orchestrated storytelling. And that realization sent Paul Levesque into an absolute meltdown. But wait, because it gets even more insane, and this is information that I'm risking everything to bring you. Make sure you're subscribed because channels that expose this level of truth don't last long before WWE's legal team starts making phone calls. According to sources who were in the production meetings leading up to this segment, the attack was supposed to be a standard beatdown. Nothing too crazy, nothing too memorable. Just enough to write Roman Reigns off television for a few weeks while he films a movie or takes a brief vacation. Standard operating procedure for WWE's top stars. But Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker had other plans. Rumor has it that both wrestlers went to Triple H weeks ago pitching a more aggressive, more violent angle to really establish themselves as legitimate main event threats. And supposedly, Triple H rejected the pitch. He told them to stick to the script, to keep it safe, to not overshadow the larger bloodline storyline that's still developing. But Reed and Breakker? They decided to take matters into their own hands. Now, I can't confirm this next part with 100% certainty, but multiple sources are whispering that Reed and Breakker made a conscious decision to ignore Triple H's directions and deliver the most brutal beating they possibly could within the bounds of safety. They wanted to make a statement. They wanted to force WWE's hand. They wanted to prove that they're ready for the main event spotlight whether Paul Levesque thinks they're ready or not. And that's what sent Triple H into his backstage explosion. It wasn't concern for Roman. It wasn't worry about the storyline. It was the realization that he's losing control of his locker room. It was the understanding that WWE's talent roster is full of hungry, aggressive performers who are tired of waiting their turn in Triple H's carefully planned long-term booking strategies. If this is blowing your mind right now, you absolutely need to comment below and tell me what you think. Are Reed and Breakker heroes for taking their future into their own hands? Or did they cross a line that could get them buried by WWE management? I want to hear your take, and I'm reading every comment. This situation has exposed something that many wrestling insiders have been whispering about for months. There's a growing divide in WWE between Triple H's vision for methodical, story-driven content and what the WWE universe is actually responding to, which is chaos, intensity, and unpredictability. Look at the social media engagement after Reed and Breakker's attack. Look at the video views, the replays, the discussions across every wrestling platform. The WWE Universe went insane for that segment, not because it was beautifully crafted storytelling, but because it felt raw, it felt real, it felt like anything could happen. And that terrifies Triple H because it represents everything his booking philosophy isn't. Paul Levesque has been praised, and rightfully so, for bringing prestige back to WWE championships, for building coherent storylines, for treating the audience with intelligence. But there's a growing sentiment among wrestlers backstage that his approach has also made WWE too predictable, too safe, too controlled. And Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker's attack was a middle finger to that entire philosophy. This is exactly why you need to make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on, because the fallout from this situation is going to create shockwaves throughout WWE for months to come, and this channel will be covering every single development. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, Roman Reigns himself. Where does the tribal chief stand in all of this? Because according to backstage reports, Roman's reaction to the attack and to Triple H's subsequent explosion was very telling about the current power dynamics in WWE. Supposedly, after receiving medical attention, Roman Reigns went straight to Triple H's office for a private conversation that lasted over an hour. Nobody knows exactly what was said, but people who were nearby reported hearing raised voices, and when Roman left, witnesses say he looked frustrated, possibly even angry. Here's my theory, and I want you to tell me in the comments if you think I'm right or completely off base. Roman Reigns loved what Reed and Breakker did. Think about it. Roman's entire career has been about proving himself as the ultimate warrior, the unstoppable force, the final boss of WWE. Being protected and insulated by careful booking might preserve his mystique, but it doesn't create the heat, the buzz, the cultural relevance that Roman craves. Roman Reigns wants to be inviolate, talked about segments that break the internet. He wants mainstream attention, and nothing generates mainstream attention like shocking brutality in wrestling. So when Triple H exploded about the attack going too far, Roman might have been in that office arguing that it didn't go far enough. That WWE needs more of that energy, not less. This potential disagreement between Roman Reigns and Triple H could be the most important development in WWE right now, and you're only hearing about it here on WWE Reporter. Smash that like button if you appreciate the exclusive insight you're getting right now. So where does WWE go from here? Because the ramifications of this situation extend far beyond just one attack angle. This is about the future direction of the company, and Triple H's explosion might have revealed that he's not as secure in his vision as everyone thought. If Triple H clamps down on Reed and Breakker, if he buries them for going off script, he sends a message to the entire locker room that creativity and aggression will be punished. But if he embraces what they did, if he pivots his booking philosophy to incorporate more unpredictability and edge, he admits that his carefully controlled approach might not be what WWE needs. It's a lose-lose situation for Paul Levesque, and that's why he exploded backstage. He's realizing that running WWE is a completely different beast than running NXT, and the WWE universe demands a certain level of chaos and excitement that doesn't always fit into neat long-term storytelling boxes. Meanwhile, Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker have positioned themselves as the most talked-about stars in wrestling. They've created mainstream buzz, they've got the WWE universe demanding to see more of them, and they've proven they're willing to take risks to elevate their positions. Whether Triple H likes it or not, he's going to have to feature them prominently going forward, because you can't put this genie back in the bottle. And Roman Reigns? The tribal chief just got a fresh injection of relevance and sympathy that he hasn't had in months. His comeback from this attack is going to be must-see television, and it's going to reignite interest in his character at a time when some fans were starting to feel bloodline fatigue. The reality is that Triple H's explosion backstage reveals the growing pains of his regime as WWE's creative leader. It shows that running a wrestling company requires balancing creative vision with performer ambition with audience expectations, and sometimes those three things don't align. What happened with Bronson Reed, Bron Breakker, and Roman Reigns is just the beginning of these conflicts coming to the surface. If you've watched this far, you're clearly invested in getting the real story behind WWE's biggest moments. So do yourself a favor and subscribe to WWE Reporter right now. Hit that notification bell because we're going to be following this story every step of the way, and trust me, there are more explosive developments coming that will absolutely blow your mind. Drop a comment right now telling me Team Triple H's controlled storytelling or Team Reed and Breakker's chaotic intensity? Because this debate is going to define WWE's direction for years to come, and your voice matters in this conversation. Share this video with every wrestling fan you know because this is the analysis and insight they're not getting anywhere else. WWE is at a crossroads, and Triple H's explosion is just the beginning. Stay tuned to this channel for all the backstage news, all the exclusive reports, and all the truth that WWE doesn't want you to know. This is WWE Reporter, bringing you the real story behind the storylines.